Welcome to CEO Uncover. Today, joining me is Adelle Archer. Adele is the co-founder and CEO of Eterneva and Forbes 30 Under 30 honoree. Thank you for joining us, Adele.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be here.
I wanted to first ask you, just give us a gist about who you are and your background.
Yeah. So I have been in Austin for almost about 10 years now. Originally from California and came to Austin really kind of for the business community. And it's just been an incredible 10 years of watching the city grow and develop and become a true like technology hub. So it's an exciting place and time to be an entrepreneur here. Outside of running companies and advising companies and investing, which I love to do. Do a lot of travel and love to learn languages. And my fiance and I are super into wine. So yeah, we have fun off the field too.
All my friends are moving to Austin. Apparently, it's a new place to be. I was supposed to
It's
go actually
awesome.
this weekend.
Oh, no way. So
Yeah.
cool. That's awesome. It's a
What
beautiful place. I love it.
what would you say sparked your passion for business?
So, it was interesting. My first chapter was actually in politics, and I thought I wanted to, be doing really like reform to help important social causes.
Mhm.
And so I worked in DC and I was doing a lot of policy research and reform. And what I ended up realizing was what I love about business and entrepreneurship is there's a lot of people who kind of rally around a problem and say, how do we solve this in the most impactful way possible?
Mhm.
And so I just felt, perhaps business was an even better vehicle for me personally to be able to really drive change in the world and, do something that was really impactful. So that's what brought me down to Austin. I got my MBA and, I said, whatever business I start, it needs to really be kind of making an important dent on the universe. And
Yeah.
so, yeah, that was kind of the pivot.
So where did the idea to start your own business and to start Eterneva come from?
Yeah. So originally, we were just going to be starting a regular lab grown diamond company.
Mhm.
We saw that that was a very up and coming space. And, we thought that this would be, a really impactful business. And then right around that time, as we were beginning, I actually had my really close friend and my business mentor. Her name was Tracy Kaufman. She got diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And so, really shortly after she got sick, she passed away. And she was just like, one of the most incredible people you would ever meet, and a huge, huge part of who I am today is the role that she played in my life. And so when she passed, she wasn't married, she didn't have kids. And so she decided to leave her ashes to her aunt, her best friend, and myself. And she just said, you guys do something meaningful that you think we would all really like with my ashes. And so it's just this very kind of personal call to action. Like, I think a lot of people experience when their loved ones pass away is
Mhm.
you get their ashes back and you're like, okay, how do we honor them? How do we celebrate them? How do we really keep their legacy alive? And so we had been doing all this research and not finding anything that resonated. And it was just really eye opening to me because it was really the first exposure I had ever had to the end of life industry and space. And I was just finding it to be very antiquated and, just not having the same level of experience, like customer
Mhm.
experience and brand experience that you have in every other area of your life. And so it was just kind of crazy. Like over dinner one night with the diamond scientist I was working with, he actually mentioned this technology to me that you could take the carbon out of cremated remains and grow a real diamond from that carbon source. And he blew my mind. I was like, oh my God, this is what I have to do. No question.
Yeah.
Um, there was one company doing it. And so I went to go actually start the process. And it was just a big turnoff because like they didn't ask who this was for or her relationship to me. And they just weren't really transparent about how the process was going to work.
Mhm.
And so it's just enough for me to say, I just don't know if I feel comfortable sending her away to this company. And so that was kind of the point at which we looked at this and we're like, man, I totally get this. Like, I want to do this. And I think others would do this in a heartbeat. I
Mhm.
think it's just getting executed on wrong. And so at that point, we decided to completely just pivot and focus on honoring people and their loved ones. And Tracy was the first diamond that we ever made.
That's an incredible story. And I have never heard anything like this before. And when I stumbled upon your company, I was so intrigued because of the way you're doing it, and to honor people's lives is so meaningful. I think it needs to be talked about more.
Thank
I
you.
wanted to ask
Yeah.
you, what kind of customers do you attract?
It's really interesting. Like we have such a wide range, of customers and demographics within our customer base. Like the biggest indicator of whether somebody will do this or not is how close of a relationship they had with somebody. You're not going to do a diamond for just anybody in your life. I think we can all count, like, on one hand, who are our true diamonds that we want to have, with us every single day. Because that's a big part of it is people will have it done like for a ring or a necklace so that their loved one is physically with them every day. They look down and it brings them, just comfort and connection.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, we really see like older generation, all races, all, coastal, mid country. We also, it's about 40% of our business is pets. So we honor both people and pets. And so with pets, we tend to see a slightly younger demographic.
Mhm.
But yeah, we're kind of all over the map.
How long does it take once you have the ashes to create a diamond?
End to end, it's usually about between 8 to 10 months.
Hmm.
And so as we go, it's very intricate. There's a lot of different steps that are involved. We actually have created really an experience around that, which today, like a lot of our customers enjoy the journey as much as they do the diamond that they're getting on the other end.
Hmm.
Because at every stage, we're sending pictures and videos and updates and letting them know, hey, here's what's happening at this stage.
Yeah.
Here's what's really cool about it. Here's how the science works, and just like really involving them in it. And what we found is that by giving people something to focus on and to lean into over a protracted period of time,
Mhm.
it's helping them process their grief,
Right.
and it's helping them like share something with their community and have something positive to look forward to over a period of time. And so coming out the other side, many people end up saying they're in a better place with their grief than people who did nothing at all in the wake of the funeral.
That makes completely sense. And it's kind of a coping mechanism to be
Yes.
involved in the process.
Yes.
When you
Yes.
first started the company, what marketing tools did you use to get your name out there?
So, one of our big things, like obviously this is such a sensitive, kind of thing to talk about or thing to market, if you will. And so we've always said from day one, like this is not about Eterneva and it's not about how cool Ashes to Diamonds is. Like the technology is awesome, but really it's about the people behind the diamonds. And, you just hear the most incredible stories. Like again, you don't earn a diamond if you weren't just like an awesome human being and or pet. And so we really lean into that and we tell their stories. And really it's something that we're so passionate about is like, why do we stop talking about people when they pass away? Why wouldn't we continue to celebrate them and share their stories? And that's something that we really want to affect culturally, is that we just destigmatize grief and loss and make it totally normal to keep talking about your people. And so a lot of our kind of quote marketing is more storytelling, great
Mhm.
video storytelling on social media, and it drives a ton of word of mouth. And so those are really our two fastest growing channels. Our TikTok has 1.3 million followers.
Wow.
We've never spent any money on that channel. It's just great storytelling and people
Yeah.
love it.
People, all TikToks about stories, really bringing people in. And I
Yeah.
heard your story first on Shark Tank, and I wanted to ask you, what was it like to go on Shark Tank and present your company?
Yeah. I mean, it was quite an experience. Like, we were the first end of life company to go on Shark Tank.
Mhm.
And so I think that was just really special, is like getting to share a topic that again like had been pretty taboo with like on a national stage and with a national audience, and getting people to kind of like talk about it, think about it. Like it was a huge turning point for us as we've continued to kind of lead this cultural movement of hey, let's keep talking about our loved ones, let's normalize this experience that we're all going to go through. And so I think Shark Tank was a really big first step in starting to normalize those things. And then having Mark Cuban's backing, he's just been absolutely awesome and a huge advocate for us. And so yeah, it was an awesome experience.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I want to switch gears into a moment and focus on you and ask you, what advice do you have for women who are trying to break into the business world?
I would say one of the most important things is to really trust yourself. Something that I've observed of myself and other women in business is sometimes we can kind of question our inner knowing or question, do I have the right answer, and look to others to provide that like comfort of, okay, what do you think? What do you think? And we need to get to a very high confidence interval. Whereas I observe more of men leaders, it's like they'll shoot and then go, and I think that that's just something that is really powerful, is just leaning into, you likely already have the right answer. And so tuning into what your intuition is telling you to do in any given, circumstance, and trusting yourself and building that self-reliance, because that's a huge part of being an entrepreneur, is like, you're never going to have all the answers. It's always kind of, trying to narrow the region of darkness and just keep moving forward. And so building that kind of internal intuition, trusting it and following through on it, I think is one of the most powerful things that we as women can lean into.
Lastly, I wanted to ask you, how important would you say in terms of business is financial literacy and common sense knowledge?
It's very important. Absolutely. I mean, the first rule of business is don't run out of cash. So
Yeah.
like being able to manage your cash flow, ensure that you really understand, just even the basics of, if I'm going to make this investment, when will it pay itself back,
Mhm.
and making sure that you're being kind of thoughtful and responsible with how you're going and scaling a company. It's really like that is the lifeblood of company. And so you can get yourself in trouble if you get out over your skis and try and grow too fast, and aren't watching things very closely. So do you need an accounting and finance degree? No, but having the fundamentals of how to read an income statement, a P&L, a balance sheet, understand how to manage cash flow, that's super, super
Yeah.
critical. Yeah.